I came across a pristine example of a 1990 Nissan 300ZX on bringatrailer.com with low miles, manual, and in the right color. I just had to have it, so I packed my bags and off I went.
USA!
We started our journey at the Nissan dealership in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where we picked up the 300ZX and headed for our 4-day trip, passing through Virginia, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, and finally to the port of Baltimore to ship the car back to Kuwait. The dream of building the world's best sports car began with the most cherished engineering tool of all, a clean sheet of paper. The dream became my singular vision, then a quest, and ultimately, a relentless obsession. In the end, the world applauded. The 300ZX was voted one of the 10 best cars in the world. Picking up the car in mid-October gave us a great scenery in our journey, with the autumn leaves painting our path ahead, with magnificent views around every corner.
Let's go, Mr. Driver!
Awesome power and unrivaled agility, this exotic sports car was more than an eloquent expression of automotive excellence. It is a statement which embodied the heart and soul of a generation. Back in the 1980s, Nissan gave its engineers a simple mandate: build the best sports car in the world and set the standards for everyone else to follow. What followed was without a doubt the most delicate balancing act ever performed on 4 wheels. Over 1,000 seat designs were tested before this one was selected. Built for speed, it features deep bolsters to keep you in place during hard cornering. Inside the cockpit, you will find all the car's major controls have been placed within a handspan of the steering wheel. All of the major controls are housed in 2 pods on either side of the instrument panel. The lighting controls are housed in the left pod, while the climate controls are on the right. The handling is so good, the 300ZX can instantly improve the skills of just about any driver. Its suspension keeps you in full control of where the car is going, regardless of driving conditions. It has great poise on rough roads, is stable on straight lines, and can be pushed to the limit in curves without any shocking surprises. In fact, the suspension works so well, it's as agile and graceful as a ballerina. The key to any good suspension system is quite simply wheel control. Any changes occurring at the wheel, such as toe change, camber change, or vertical deflection, have to be controlled changes. This is not an easy task because the number of variables involved is astronomical. Yet thanks to its multi-link front suspension, with twisted upper arm and multi-link rear suspension, designed by a supercomputer, the car's ability to control wheel motions is among the best of any production car in the world today. Newly developed headlamps use a small but powerful projector bulb backed by a reflector. The clear lens housing the lamp is angled at a sharp 60 degrees to promote excellent airflow. After driving all day, we arrived at Lexington, a small town in Virginia, and stayed for the night. The next morning, we continued our journey and headed to Washington, D.C. And on our way, we passed through the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is considered one of the best roads in the United States. It was the world's first car to be designed using a computer. Before a wrench was lifted or a sheet of steel was formed, Nissan engineers spent thousands of man-hours at computer terminals designing, testing, simulating, and then redesigning major components, making over 100 million calculations, using the most powerful and most advanced computers on the planet, resulting in a 0.32 drag coefficient. After a very pleasant drive through the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, we arrived in Washington, D.C. and visited the White House and the Washington Monument before checking in at our hotel. In the early morning, just before dawn, we left Washington and made our way to Philadelphia, where we stayed for the night before heading to our final destination, the Port of Baltimore in Maryland. Beneath the bonnet resides a state-of-the-art twin cam 24-valve 3-liter V6. Arriving in Philadelphia, we were greeted by none other than Rocky himself. The 300ZX created by Nissan had taken the car to the very top of the performance car world. At the break of dawn, we left Philadelphia to our final stretch to Baltimore, Maryland, to get the Z into the port in time. After 4 days of driving and nearly 800 miles behind us, we finally made it to the Port of Baltimore, our final destination, and handed the car over to the port to be shipped to Kuwait in late November, where it is scheduled to arrive in early January of 2023.